Friends, welcome back to She Believes Season 2. If you haven't listened to Season 1, I'm going to shameless plug it. Go on, listen to Season 1 of She Believed, which is all about me. And you guys know how much I love talking about me. That was real cringe. Hey, speaking of cringe, can I tell you what happened with my next guest? So I fangirled out just a little bit when I interviewed Nicole Eggert. Now, Nicole Eggert, if you don't know, was a TV star of the 1980s, 1990s. She was on Charles and Charge, and then she was on Baywatch. And, as a little girl growing up in small town Washington, I will just tell you, I loved me some Charles and Charge. And so when I had a chance to chat with her, of course, I was like, oh my God, I love you. I've met super famous people in my career. The ones that always get me are the ones that I remember from childhood. Like 12-year-old Christina will show up when I am meeting somebody from my childhood, like a child, versus 46-year-old Christina who meets a movie star and you're like, whatever. Yeah, we got borderline cringe with Nicole Eggert, but luckily I saved myself and I saved you as well. So this interview with Nicole Eggert was not necessarily okay about her growing up in the limelight in the 90s on a hit TV show. It was really about what happened when she was given a breast cancer diagnosis, what that looked like for her as a single mom and having to navigate it really on her own and what she learned about herself. There is a little part of this interview where we kind of touch on the more controversial subject of what happened on the set of Charles in Charge. If you don't know, go back and Google it. So we touched on it and I was like, this doesn't feel good. I'm going to pull away from this conversation. So if you're wondering well, what happened on Charles in Charge? That's why. Okay, so let's dive in with this sometimes really funny conversation about breast cancer with Nicole Eggert.
I was recording my podcast this morning with a female oncologist about vaginal estrogen for cancer survivors.
It's so great to jump on a call with somebody and just out the gate start talking about vaginas.
I mean, they're the best part of us.
Exactly. We don't need small talk. We don't need to talk about the weather or time changes.
No.
Let's just kick things off with vaginas.
Vaginas and good sex.
That's where we're going today. We'll just get the elephant out of the room, which is I am 46 years old. I am of the generation that watched you on TV. So the nostalgia is just palpitating out of my room right now.
Oh, I love that. You're so young.
God bless you.
You are so
Tell
young.
that to my children who are like, you're 46. I'm like, yes, I'm 46.
I know mine tells people my mom was born in the 1900s.
When I try to give my 12-year-old advice, he's like, this isn't the 80s, Mom. Like, what do you even know about the 80s?
And it is.
And
excuse me, sir, it is. It's the 80s and 90s forever.
So can I just talk to you a little bit about, and we're going to get into all of the deep stuff, but when you hear somebody come up to you and just I watched you growing up and you had such an impact on my life and those kinds of things, what resonates for you? What comes to mind when that happens?
Well, that's interesting because that changes and that has changed through my life. Now
Sure.
I'm like, okay, well, that's a huge responsibility. And what am I saying and what am I putting out there? And should you be listening to me? Maybe I'm the example of don't do it like this. But at the end of the day, I get I'm so grateful that I grew up in a time without social media. And as much as I
Yeah.
love social media, and I do, I am a victim to it and I love it and I appreciate it and all of the things, but I'm so grateful that I got to grow up without it. And just, I was able to live my life in somewhat private.
Yeah, kind of in a weird way private, but also public because you've been on some of the, most popular shows of the 80s and 90s. And so to be able to kind of have that balance of be able to leave your public life behind and go into your private life. Do you remember that time fondly?
I do. I really do,
Yeah.
and, it's interesting because camcorders came out, right? Camcorders were a thing,
Oh,
and,
yeah.
you would have paparazzi or people outside of venues, with camcorders, and so then you knew, like, okay, be on your best behavior or, like, be prepared, that sort of thing, but
Yeah.
inside the room, wherever you were, that we didn't have camera phones and, there was no recording devices, and that just wasn't happening, and so yes, public life, but in hindsight, it got to be pretty private. Like you got to leave set and you knew when you were and weren't being um recorded or watched or
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? It was so
Yeah.
different.
You've talked very publicly about struggles during that time, especially during Charles in Charge, but, do you remember feeling like I'm living another little girl's dream, like, I'm living an extraordinary moment right now, or was it like, am I making too much am I romanticizing it too much?
Maybe. My life was a little bit more of a struggle and so I feel like a lot of my downtime was spent, trying to find myself and trying to figure some things
Sure.
out and, trying to understand what was going on and why and all of those things. So, my life had a lot of, deep, dark corners and,
Ugh.
moments of just like, "What in the world is going on? Why is this happening?" And it's okay because it formed me into who I am now. And I
Mhm.
love that, Nicole. It's taken me a long time to get here, but I'm here. And so I think all the confusions and the questions and the pain and the struggles and all of that, it and going full circle back, I got to do it kind of in private because
Yeah.
it's just there
Mhm.
wasn't a social media to pick up and vent,
Yeah.
right?
Well, the other part too is what I love what's so great about social media is that we get to decide the parts that we want to share with people, and we can be very, like you said, TMI. We can tell you all of the things, and then we still also have the um autonomy to be able to keep certain things private and kind of hold them close. So I think that there's such value in being able to kind of hold on to both of those things.
Sure, sure, but then there's also the side of, where people will talk about you or release
Oh
information
gosh.
about you, right? Or their, opinions or
Narrative.
their,
Mhm.
yeah, their narrative, that's the word. So, it's a double-edged sword. And
Yeah.
but here we are, and there are so many amazing sides to it, and I try to share as much as I can. I mean, I think if you take a look at my social media, it's kind of what I'm about. I'm about having the hard conversations. I'm about, talking about the things that are going untalked about.
And do you feel as you get older, as you get wiser, that you're like, this is just who I am, what I feel, what I think, and I'm just gonna own it unapologetically. I feel like there's a part of me that does that because it strips away it just here's who I am, take it or leave it. And you get to help people, you get to connect with people who are going through the same thing.
Yes. Yes,
Is it an
absolutely.
age and wisdom thing? Do you feel like you're even more like, fuck it?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, what do you have to lose? And it's not gonna be everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay too, and, and it's interesting because I think being, an advocate for my own health, and
Mhm.
being a single woman and a single mom going through a
Mm.
really severe diagnosis and having to navigate everything on my own, and taking everybody else into consideration, I think it kind of took, like, any kind of, apprehension or fears or anything, it kinda took it off the table because it was like, if you're not asking the questions and you're not saying the things, then who is? And,
Mhm.
the only way to get through this is to go through it, right? And so we
Mhm.
have to go through it head on. And, I don't know, it gave me a sense of fearlessness that and maybe that is age too, right? Like,
Mhm.
that's age,
Mhm.
that's a diagnosis, that's life, that's all of the things. So I have a fearlessness, and I think asking questions is where it started and where I was able to create that fearlessness is like, there's no
Mhm.
stupid question. There's no,
Mhm.
the only, and I was just having a conversation with an oncologist this morning, and we were talking about how women, are maybe sometimes still embarrassed or ashamed or too private to talk about their diagnosis. And then on top
Mhm.
of that, you throw in menopause or perimenopause or, um, vaginal dryness. Let's go there. Pain during sex, like all of these things. And a lot of women are still uh, apprehensive about bringing it up and talking about it
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
realizing that um, there are things that help and that are available, but, if we don't talk about it and we don't make it comfortable and normal, then it stays
It stays
taboo. It
silent.
stays silent, yeah.
Well, what's so great too, especially about advocacy, is then you have those people who are advocates, like yourself, who are, asking those awkward questions, who are fearlessly and unapologetically just like, I have a question. But before we get to your advocacy, let's go back to your diagnosis because I do want to, when I heard you have breast cancer and you might die, everything it was everything went silent. My brain wasn't able to process the information. I was like, "What is this? I don't even understand what this means." So, walk us through your experience and your diagnosis and how you even came to find out that you had breast cancer.
God, I relate with you so much on that.
Mhm.
I went in for I was going for my mammograms every year, but the mammograms were missing my cancer. I have dense breast
Oh.
tissue. So, ladies, if you also are told you have dense breast tissue, skip the mammograms, ask for those ultrasounds, do the self test, touch yourself, get to
Yet
know your girl.
because I was told that I had dense breasts, and I was like, "Oh, okay." Like, didn't even connect to me. I was just like, "Oh, okay, that's just a thing." There wasn't any sort of like, "You have dense breasts, that means that you should X, Y, and Z." I was just told you have dense breasts, and then I just went on with my day. I was like, "Well, is that a good thing? Is that lucky me?" I don't know what that
No,
means.
you're right, and this is the problem with the medical system, and, you're told these things, and then it's up to you to go figure out what that means, right?
Yeah.
And most of us don't. It goes in one ear, out the other, or we're like, "Okay, I have dense breast tissue," but there was no follow-up or like, "You need to do
Mhm.
this." There were no
Mhm.
after steps. Um so, yes, I have dense breast tissue, and until I felt it, it was throbbing so bad in my chest that I went and I felt it, and then I felt that tumor, and I felt so stupid in the moment that I did not know that it was there all this time. I was like,
Mhm.
"This has been there?" And I
Yes.
went back in for the discovery mammogram, and then they said, "Oh, you need to have a biopsy done." And I thought, "Yeah, that's what I need. That's exactly what's supposed to happen." And the lady was scheduling me for it, and she was doing it weeks out. And the doctor said, whispered to her, and she turned, she goes, "Can you come in the morning?" And I knew
Mm.
right then, I knew at that
Uh-huh.
moment that this was urgent. And I will
Uh-huh.
share something with you, and this is so could be so weird to so many people. I laid down on the floor in I was in my mammogram office behind the glass, and I laid down on the floor, and I put my head on the
Mm.
floor, and I just was like, "What about my kids? My kids." I just knew at that
Mhm.
moment I had cancer. I knew, um, I was so scared, and that fear that you talk about, that silence, like, I couldn't hear, I didn't care where the hell I was.
Mhm.
All I could do was fall into a ball on the floor, and,
Mhm.
that was rough. That was r it's a really tough news.
Yeah, and I completely relate to what about my boys? Like, what about my kids? They need their mommy. Like, I couldn't even it went from I don't understand to but what about my boys? What about my kids? That was the part that gutted me. Also, Same thing, I had, like, a throbbing in my boob, and I just was like, "That's weird." Um, and then I felt the tumor, I was like, "Wait, this is oh my gosh, Nicole, we're having the same exact experience." It was terrifying, and at that point, did you say, "Why do I have to come back in the morning? Can you just tell me what is going on right now? Like, why are we waiting here?"
Well, I don't know. I was just so, like,
Out of it.
out of it, and I just knew that it was just gonna be this journey of, like, what's next? How do I fix it? How do we get it out? What do we do? And, for me, I thought that I was just gonna have a lumpectomy, and, like, it was just
Same.
gonna be over, and,
Yeah.
so this is it's as you go on and on and on, and this is months and months, tests after tests, and as the test results came back, and as they started to get a bigger view on what was going on in my body, they realized it was much larger, much more advanced, you know, so much more than the biopsy could tell them. And, and you're dealing with it. You walk into it going, okay, I'm going to have a lumpectomy.
Right,
Great.
you're a taskmaster, right? You're like, "I have to do this, and then I have to do this, and then it'll all be back to normal."
Yeah. And then you walk in and they're like, well, we got the test results back and we actually can't do surgery because it is so widespread and you have a main tumor with satellite tumors and there's just no way to operate on it now. It would just spread throughout your body. So we're going to do chemotherapy to try to reduce the size of your tumor. And it was like, wait a minute, chemotherapy? I was told like a lumpectomy. So, and it's, oh, yeah, you have to have chemotherapy and you have to have two types and you have to start immediately. The sooner the better. And they're going to be, very strong types of chemotherapy. And you're like, well, wait a minute.
This
Wait,
is not
this wasn't in the
this is
party
a
plan. This wasn't on my bingo card. Yeah,
I kept thinking as I was going through, I'm like, "It can't get any worse." And then it would get worse
it does, right?
every single time.
And you know what I hate the most is when people will say to you, it's okay. And, you're gonna get through this, and in a year from now, you're gonna look back and this is all gonna be behind you. There's never a bigger lie told.
Yeah, especially because it's right in front of you. I mean, literally, chew, 1, 2, they're right in front of
Right,
you.
right, and it's on your mind for the rest of your life. Like,
And so now you're thinking about chemo. Now you're thinking about at this point, have they told you that you're gonna have a mastectomy?
well, I've been told that a mastectomy is not even possible. My cancer is so widespread, and it's in the lymph nodes, and it's just taken over the left side of my body, that mastectomy is not even a thing. It's not even an option. So my best bet was to get in as quickly as possible, have some of the strongest chemo, and see if my body responds and if they are then able to remove it, which luckily, yes, all of the things happened and it worked and my body responded and it shrunk to a size where they felt comfortable
Oh, thank God,
removing it.
yeah.
Yeah, and getting the mastectomy, lymph node removal, that's a whole thing that also I kind of threw by the wayside. I didn't realize. I just thought, "Oh, they're gonna remove some lymph nodes." Like, who knew that that was such a big deal? That's worse than the mastectomy. So I had only 8 of them removed, 8 to 10 of them removed. You lose the movement of your arm.
Mhm.
You lose feeling down the arm. Nobody gave me the proper tools with what to do after recovery of having lymph node removal. So I didn't realize that you needed to do lymph node massage and exercises. And I was icing it because I had just had surgery. So I thought that like you ice it and keep it still. And my entire body like went stiff and I couldn't move. And my oldest daughter started Googling it and she's like, oh my God, did you have lymph node removal? And I'm like, "I don't know, I think so, like, let me check." And I, looked at my scars, I was like, it looks like it." And she's like, "You need to be doing this and that and A, B, C." And, you're just sort of kinda thrown to the wolves a lot of times because doctors have so much on their
Mhm.
plate in their defense
Sure.
that they tell you these things, and then it's up to you to then go do the research and do the advocacy and figure out what does that mean, what they just said. So, dense breast tissue, what does that mean? Lymph node removal, like what does that entail? And there's just so much to it that's not always just handed to you. The information is just not, handed
Right.
on
I think I wonder too if they just take it for granted that they know it so well that they just assume that, it's the obvious, which, as you're going through this, it is not the obvious. And every time it just felt like another step um okay. It was really, and my doctor, this was a great piece of advice. He's like, you just need to look at the thing right in front of you. And then when you get to that point, then look at the next thing in front of you. So you're doing all of this and going through the treatment and dealing with breast cancer, and you have 2 children, you're a single mom. I mean, how does that even, I think, are you even aware? I feel like at the time I know that I was living in these kind of 2 different realities. I was, a taskmaster. I was able to just do the things, get to soccer practice, do the potty training, do the things, and then also get to the appointments and do the surgery, and, what was that like for you?
Well, same kind of. Don't you think that maybe it kind of gave us a sense of responsibility outside of our diagnosis and our disease, right?
Mhm.
It
Like a
it
purpose, yeah.
Yeah, it gave us a purpose and it kept us back in normal life of like something outside of
Mhm.
ourselves that we can forget like what we're going through and focus
Mhm.
on like what we care about and the ones we love and like what we're here for and why we do it and why we're fighting. And I think for me at least, it was a removal outside of myself. I had my youngest was a teenage or 12. She was 12 at the time. She's 14 now.
Mhm.
It gave me this sense of like I just need to put what I'm going through to the side and I need to be
Mhm.
here for her and she needs this and she needs all of these things. And it was an escapism almost from my sickness.
The reality.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
Did you ever feel like, because my doctor was very clear, he's like, "If we don't get this out of you, you will die." Like, I had a very aggressive and rare form of breast cancer, and it just there were times where I was like, "No, of course I'm not gonna die," but then there were these moments where I was like, "No, I could." Like, this takes women all of the time. This takes people all the time. What makes me any different? And so did you ever have those feelings, or did you just keep those feelings? If you did, if you just were you just like, stop talking."
I still have those
Oh, you
moments,
do,
right?
yeah.
Like, I don't think
Mhm.
that goes away. And I think that what has to happen for me is I have to have an inner dialogue of, yeah, you very well could. You could die. You could also go
Mhm.
outside and, get into a terrible car accident or be, swallowed up by a huge earthquake. Um, I don't know. There's so many things that could happen that, um and I went to a shaman. I'm super spiritual, and it got me through a lot
Mhm.
of, like, meditating and music and things like that, and, he gave me these words. He looked at me and said, "But you're here right now." Like,
Mhm.
right now. You're okay. You're right here and you're alive. And I always go back to that. And I think it's the only thing we have is right here, right now. I'm
Right.
alive and I'm winning and I'm fighting and I'm thriving and we're moving forward. And that's just like that's your tool. That was my go-to, that was my everything, and I still have look, we have to look at death, we have to set up what happens to our
Mhm.
kids. What are we gonna do? I told my kid I did the whole Swedish, have you ever done that, the Swedish death cleaning? I did it all.
Yeah, I've heard of it,
Oh,
yeah.
I did it. I did it, I cleared everything out, so I told my kids, Take what you want, you can throw the rest away," and it's all contained now, so, you know, I went through I go through it all the time, and I look at it, and it makes me come back to right here, right now, I'm okay, and I'm alive, and I
Yeah.
get to do right now, so, it's just it's living in the now, and it's all you got.
I do say, and this is a privilege to say this because I know a lot of people do not, but going through breast cancer was probably one of the best things that happened to me because it grounded me in a way. It gave me a perspective on life and the frailty of life and the moments that we have with our family and our friends and this moment because that's all we can count on. And I always say that I had like Wizard of Oz moment where everything all of a sudden was brighter. Everything went into Technicolor after, I came out on the other side. So it just gives you a perspective that otherwise we wouldn't know. So how are you doing did you get, so you did not get a mastectomy or you did
Oh,
get a
I did.
mastectomy?
Yeah. I have a
You
mastectomy.
did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Double
Double?
mastectomy, yes.
Okay.
Reconstruction. And
Nicole, talk to me about reconstruction because I only had a unilateral mastectomy. So I have Nipsey, who is my prosthetic. She's hangs out with me daily. And so I have not gone through reconstruction. I thought I was going to do it quickly, and then it's been 2 years now, and didn't become it hasn't become anything that I'm like I have to do this to feel like myself again. But I am considering doing it this year. So what has that been like for you? What was that like for you?
okay, so it's been wild. I went into surgery thinking I was getting double mastectomy, and my surgeon, in hindsight now, I would love to kick him in the shin. Scared the daylights out of me and said, "Let's just do one, and
Uh-huh.
that way you can get back into treatment, and you'll have less chances. If we just take one, you have less chance of infection." Because, our white blood cell count is so low, people don't realize that we are so prone to infection, and this holds up a lot of the process. Um, you have less chance of infection, half the time of recovery, and you can get back into treatment. I was like, get back into treatment. I just finished treatment. Like, what are you talking about? And I started sobbing and crying, and turns out I didn't need to get back into treatment. And he was somehow misinformed, or he thought I needed to, or I don't know. So I had a single mastectomy, and they
Okay.
put an expander in. They placed an expander, and the expander. I kept saying, like, what is going on with this? Why is this in me? It turned out that it was an 800 cc expander. Now, on my biggest boob days, with
Mhm.
implants, I had 150 cc's,
Oh
and there was an
my gosh.
800 cc plastic, and those expanders are hard plastic, and it was poking out of everywhere. I lived like that for a year with one natural breast and one flat chest with this expander that looked like, it looked like a giant, those balls in the ball pit that the kids play in
Y
when they get
yes.
stepped on and it's like crushed? It was a giant one of those in my chest for a year. So I was very excited to get my other mastectomy and do the reconstruction. Here's the twist is I've worked really hard on detoxing my life. I'm a big believer in no plastics. I mean, I'm a bit of a crazy person, and that's a whole other podcast. From, products that we use in the home to what I put on my body to what we wear. Um, I'm very, very strict in what I eat, all of it. Yet I felt like I wanted boobs. So I got
But
implants.
right through here, we're just gonna be a little bit more
Yeah.
lenient.
Yes.
Got
So I'm
it.
a bit of a hypocrite. Um, but I wanted boobs still, and
Yeah.
small ones. They're very small, and they can be taken out very quickly with, very little downtime, but I just still wanted them. I'm a fan of them. I think boobs are just so great. I love them,
Y
and
they're gr and it's a shame that yours had to go away, but if we can get a new set, a 2.0 version, then why not? Yeah,
yes.
no, definitely it really doesn't. So I have one regular boob and then a flat chest and then, but I was like, "Okay, maybe I don't wanna not do it because what if one day I do?" So let's think about it. But wait, do I get a nipple or do we not get nipple? Is that a thing? Is there a nipple?
Okay, so I have a Barbie boob. I call it a Barbie boob. I have one that has a
Okay.
nipple because although I had the mastectomy, there was no cancer on that side, so I got to do nipple sparing. And then the other
Okay, got
side,
it.
everything had to be taken. So I am in
Okay.
the process right now. I just went to see my surgeon last week, and we're talking about how we move forward with creating a nipple. Now, I'm going to be completely honest. part of Nicole
Okay.
really loves not having a nipple. Like, um 'cause what I end up doing with my new small, tiny girls, and I don't have to wear a bra, is I end up putting, like, one of those silicone, nipple covers on the one that
Yeah,
has
on
the
one.
nipple, so it looks like the Barbie boob.
Yeah.
So when I'm in clothes, I love not having a nipple. When I'm naked or thinking about, being with a partner or something like that,
Sure.
I feel like there should be a nipple there. So we're talking about how we're gonna make that happen and what that looks like. But at the end of the day, I kind of love the Barbie boob. She's my favorite.
I know, my niece calls it the yoga mom boobs. You get to, like, wear, like, no bra. I was like, "How oh my god, no bra and then no nips coming out?" Yeah, so, okay, because I did do a recently, I was like, does reconstruction come with nipples?" I have no
You have to look it
idea.
up. So, basically, what you can do is you can do, like, nipple sharing where they take from one nipple and they put it on the other. If they create
Oh.
an actual, like, what they call origami nipple from your skin, 9 times out of 10, I've heard that it goes back flat again. So, what it looks like is gonna happen is they will take skin from my stomach and my, groin area, and they'll make an
Uh-huh.
areola so that there's texture, there's, like, 3D-ness, and then they'll go in and tattoo. Because some people, not all, but some can do
Fascinating.
amazing, nipple tattoos, but there will be some sort of, like, texture and, like, 3D-ish thing to it. It won't just be flat boob with
To look more normal.
yeah,
I just feel like maybe the Barbie boob is just I'm just gonna we don't need a origami anything.
right, yeah.
I mean, I'm willing to look at one and give it a good consideration.
Yeah.
But
At the end of the day, we're alive, right?
yeah.
We're alive and we're just so lucky we get to have these conversations and laugh about it and, talk about our options because, 2 years ago, I wasn't sure I would ever be here, right? I didn't know if
Yeah.
this was even gonna
Yes.
be, a conversation. So now it's all just icing on the cake. I find it all very funny. My boobs have become very, like, um, they're just so
Kind
silly
of
to
their
me.
own characters.
Yes, and they tried to kill me. I mean, they tried to take my life. It was like, I have a real love-hate relationship with them.
1000%. On the one hand, they try to take our life. On the other hand, we're like, "Do you want an origami
Yeah,
nipple? Because if it's something that you really want, let's see if we can make it
yes.
work."
It's so true. This is why I'm like, I fight with what a hypocrite I am because I'm like, "You tried to kill me." Yet I'm like, "God, I love you. You're so cute."
You're so
Yeah,
cute, especially now, especially as we get older, right? My boobs, they started to get a little bit closer to my knees and my belly button than I liked. And now, okay, breast cancer sucked. That was awful. But do I get a nice new pair of perky boobs? I mean, it's not a terrible exchange.
there are some consolation prizes.
Right? I feel like you do one thing that I have found is super helpful is finding the levity in life, in challenges and the things that we've gone through, to A, make it more, an easier pill to swallow sometimes, but also I feel like it gives other people permission to jump in on a very difficult conversation when it can be really, really hard and when you can find time to laugh,
Yeah, that part.
don't you think? So what is next for you? What kinds I know you do a lot of advocacy, but you're also doing a podcast. So talk to me a little bit about what and are you still I mean, is your agent calling you? Are you still acting? Is that kind of still your passion?
I was in treatment so much all the time, and some of the medication that I'm on, uh, brings my white blood cell count level so low that I'm back in getting, like, blood infusions all the time, and I recently,
Mm.
started denying those treatments and, am working on building up my white blood cell count naturally by myself, and it's working, and I
Oh,
highly
great. More holistically.
highly
Okay.
advise it. Now I finally, like, have my days back. I'm
Mm,
only recently sitting here going, "Oh my gosh, I don't have to be in my treatment facility 3 days a week anymore. I get to,
yeah.
like, figure this out." So, I'm in a place of, like, "What's next? What are we doing?" And I would love to act.
Mhm.
acting is like part of me. It's something I've done my whole life. It found me, I didn't find it, and, we're just
What does that mean? Tell me, how did you just fall into it? It wasn't like, because I saw that you're from Los Angeles, so you're kind of in that world, but it's not something that you, like, sought out?
you know, I had immigrant parents who were here from Europe and met in Hollywood. My mom got pregnant and my dad built a house in Huntington Beach, and my mom very quickly became a housewife and was bored to tears and started putting me in beauty pageants. And, it was so not who I was, it was so against
Mhm.
everything, so of course I won every single one, and, and found myself as, Miss Universe, and it was televised,
Amazing.
and it was like this the just weird, and my trade-off with my mom was, "I'll do these beauty pageants as long as we get to go to these venues and we get to spend a day at the pool because I love swimming
Yeah.
pools. I still love swimming pools.
Yeah.
I love bodies of water. That was my trade-off, that if I got to spend a day at the pool, I would go to do these things, and I think that she kind of liked that idea as well. And and so that's what we did, and, when it was televised, Johnson's& and Johnson's baby shampoo called and was like, "Do you can we do a commercial?" Coppertone called and was like, "Can we do a commercial?" And my mom was like, "Well, yes, of course. Of
Yeah.
course we can." And that's sort of just how it all started happening, and it was so much fun, and I did a lot of Mattel commercials, so being a kid, getting to play with all the toys before they were released, like, getting my hands on
So
early
cool.
release Barbies and just all of its cereals. I got to try cereals before they were out on the shelves, just all of the things. So it was just a very fun environment for me, and one thing led to another, and I don't know, it's where I was meant to be, I think.
1000%. I just feel like when we are, when our lot in life is, our path is paved, your destiny will find you in whichever capacity it's gonna find you. So, if that was gonna be it. So, we would love to see you again, out on TV or our movie screens, but certainly we can listen to your podcast. Tell us about your podcast.
Yeah, so my podcast I started with my friend Dave Palais, and he's a sports guy, and we relate on the topic of Real Housewives. So, you know, truly, and
He looks like a sports guy, by the
yeah,
way.
he
Like,
is.
if I was gonna think of, like, a sports guy, I'm like, "That's the sports
That's
guy."
him. He's the jock. 100% is. He does that's what his job is. He's a news
Yeah.
sportscaster. And we love Real Housewives, we love reality TV, we love pop culture. So we started this podcast and then I got my diagnosis. So now it's sort of changed into you'll get an episode of, me with a co-star from back in the 80s and the 90s, cut to today. I had female oncologists today talking about, vaginal dryness and how we fix that problem. um, so it's all over the place. It's uncensored. It's laughing at life, trying to just have a good time through all of this. And I think there's something relatable for everybody in there.
Yeah, I feel like and we've only gotten a chance to chat for the last 40 minutes or so, but, it feels like if I was Nicole's friend, like, these are the conversations that we would probably flip back and forth from vaginal dryness to, The Real Housewives.
That's right.
Hey, you're still here. Man, your dedication to get to the end, that's inspiring. I'd be so grateful if you hit that follow button and share this episode. And if you really loved it, hey, leave a review, because validation is my love language. Until next time, in the immortal words of Journey, don't stop believing.